I'm John Buchanan. Now, as you probably know, because we've explored so many of them through this whole channel for so long, Logic is awash with instruments, software instruments that allow us to build our productions. And probably the flagship one of all, the most flagship one, that's not a sentence that makes sense, but you know where I'm going with it, is Alchemy. Now, Alchemy is the most extraordinary plugin. It's a sampler, it's a synthesizer, it's a modulation center for creating sounds beyond your wildest dreams. And it's also, without any question whatsoever, the most incredible adventure playground where if you don't understand everything but you have an appetite for adventure, it's a place where you can go looking and you are going to create sounds you didn't know could possibly exist. Now, because Alchemy is so enormous, in a sense, I'll be honest, I've kind of shied away from really going there a lot because it feels almost like sometimes the places to start and how we find our way into a plugin like that seems so enormous and so infinitely complex that in a sense it's hard to know where to start. But I'm putting all of that aside. Brand new me. And what we're going to do is to explore one particular feature today, in fact actually a few, in combination, just to get you to understand a few of the possibilities. And in particular, what we're going to do is look at sample imports and then to start looking a little bit at how we can get modulation doing some interesting things. Now, before we do either of those things, I'm just going to take you round a couple of things within the main interface. So within Alchemy, what we have really are the opportunity to bring in what we refer to as 4 separate sound sources, A, B, C, and D. And what these can be is anything we like. So they can be waveforms, they can be samples, and you can see that what I've got at the moment is a combination of all 4 of those playing together. I've got a square wave, a sawtooth wave, and 2 separate versions of different waveforms as well. Down here at the bottom, all of which are contributing to this sound, this big kind of ravey lead sound. This is the default preset in Alchemy. It's the 90s again. So there we are, we've got this default sound and that's great. It's made up of those different things, these different oscillators if you like. Remember, synthesizers always have these starting points which we refer to as oscillators, the building blocks of the sound themselves. What we can do straight away is to turn on or off the ones that we want. So if I want to hear the square wave by itself, that's the bit that it is bringing to the sound. So I'm in a position to just turn them on and off. I can manipulate their pitches, their volumes, their pan positions, and so on and so forth. In this main page, we're just dealing with these sources, these 4 separate sound sources, which make up the sound overall. Okay, what we also have, as we probably know already, particularly available via this kind of performance area, is an opportunity for what's referred to as modulation. The idea that these sound sources are being manipulated by filters, by envelopes, by the potential for sequencers, envelope followers, things that track and move and morph sounds around. And what happens when I begin to manipulate different parameters or different snapshots is that what I'm doing is I'm really moving through a collection of snapshot values which can therefore become liquid as we morph our way through them. Think about all of the movement that you're seeing on the screen at the moment as being a snapshot, almost like automation playing out in real time. The difference between the big synth keys and, for example, the crunchy pluck might just be the length of the envelope that's controlling how long the sound lasts, but it might also include a difference in the amount of reverb or delay, for instance. So as I move between those 2 positions, the parameters that control the envelopes and the filters and the plugins, the internal reverb and delay, the amounts of those will morph and change from one place to another. Okay, so I'm going to keep 2 things in mind. Here are a whole series of kind of preset potential changes which are built into this default patch. And what we're going to do is to experiment with those, but only after what we've also done is to change the sound sources and imported sounds. In other words, swapped out the sound sources from their synthesizer oscillator start points and replace them with samples. How do we do that? Okay, so firstly what we're going to do is to come to source A, and I'm going to click on it. And what I'm going to do is to press the import audio button. Now, what this allows me to do, as you would expect, is to import audio. I'm in a position to go and find an audio file anywhere. So I can browse to anywhere on my desktop, anywhere on my hard drives, anywhere on external hard drives, or into places, in other words, a series of places which exist already, to go and find sounds. And of course, there is a whole bunch of sample data that exists within Alchemy. So in other words, I can, if I want to, browse for content already made for Alchemy, as well as going to find audio from other places too. So what we could do would be to experiment with that. I might decide, for example, to open up this vocals folder, and what I'm going to discover is that I've got a bunch of different things available to me, all of which do seem quite interesting just as a concept. So if I click on the parent folder, which contains some interesting little bits of phrasing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a singer. And again, I can see that there are a few of these. These are labelled after, I'm sure, the singer who performed them, called Amanda. I'm going to come out of here because I want 4 of them. So I'm definitely looking for a folder where there are 4, and I can see that Anastasia has got 4. But within each of those, actually, I think this little plus button means that there is another folder available to me inside here. If I double click, I can see that that's the case. And now we are looking at individual samples rather than just folders of samples. So what I'm in a position to do here is audition one. Let's see what Anastasia sounds like. There we are. And now I'm in a position to import it. But I need to be careful here. There are 5 separate analysis modes available to me in terms of how this sample is going to be gathered from my hard drive and sampled into Alchemy. Now, some of those are formant-based, additive, spectral, and a combination of those two together. One is granular, and that whole area has been expanded with the most recent sort of update to Logic 12.3. What we're going to do today is to keep things simple and stay in just a regular sampler mode. So when I click on sampler and I've selected the phrase that I want, I'm going to import it. And what that's going to do is to replace sound source A, which was our square wave, with a vocal phrase. And that is the first of those. And what I'm going to do without thinking too hard is to replace all of the others as well. Back into import audio. This time I'm going to click on the next available phrase, which I think will autoplay. I'm going to again hit sampler and I'm going to import it. And we're going to repeat that for C and D as well, just using the next 2 available samples. So I've used this one and this one. This one is next. Make sure I press sampler and hit import, and you can see the names updating as each one comes in, and just one left to do. Again, I'm going to just press sampler so I don't forget. And 1, 2, 3, 4, I think that takes us to here. I'm going to choose this slightly higher one. And now what we've got are 4 separate sounds. Now, of course, straight away, what I'm in a position to do is to play these. We're going to end up with a balance of all 4 of these samples playing together. Let's see what that sounds like. Now, because of the natural tuning offsets in each of these samples, what we've got is this kind of really interesting chord-based start. And what I mentioned a little while ago was the idea that what we can immediately do, we've changed all the sound sources, but the parameter offsets available to us via the Perform Square have not changed. So even though these names are now meaningless, they no longer relate to the idea of a big synth sound or an aggressive detune lead. Forget the names. Instead, all they're going to do is to move through those different snapshots, and we can immediately start taking this combination of little audio phrases and seeing what happens when we begin to sonically manipulate them. So that's nice in its own right. It's a start. It suddenly gives us an opportunity to begin to see how things might unfold. And yeah, we've got this kind of detuney thing, and we'll have a look at that in a little while to see if we can unpick it a little bit. But what I also really want to do is to start thinking a little bit about other ways in which we can manipulate the sound and bring other forms of movement. And to do that, I'm going to show you one area which is referred to as the Morph Square. Now, what this provides me with is an XY axis, from left to right, and a y-axis from up to down or down to up. So what I'm in a position to do is to move between the different sound sources A, B, C and D, and what I really want to do is to be in a position where I can do that as the sound unfolds. I want to find a way to be able to control this square. Of course, I suppose I can keep one finger on my mouse and manipulate it in real time. And that's interesting, but what I actually really want to do is to find a way to get this moving in different ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the x-axis here, and by clicking on it straight away, what happens is that I can see that that target parameter is added to the modulation routings. One of the great things about Alchemy is that rather than having to search through menus and menus and menus to find the things that you want to manipulate, instead, what you can do is to click on them and they will be automatically added to the modulation area. And what I want to do is to keep the existing one. I can see that there is a controller that is already having some bearing on the x-axis. But what I also want to do is to create a new one. And I'm going to turn that on. And what I'm going to do is to choose from the drop-down menu a sequencer. And I'm going to choose a new sequencer. Rather than using any sequencer patterns that exist already within this particular patch, I'm going to create a new one. And by doing that, what will happen is that Alchemy will immediately open a new sequencer for me. There was one already, so it makes sense that this is going to be number 2. That makes sense. And what I'm then in a position to do is to create offsets for what I want the sequencer to do. How fast do I want it to play back? And what do I want its individual settings to be? So what I'm going to do is just sort of slightly randomize this. I'm not going to think about it too hard. I'm going to create a series of offsets, which remember are going to be targeting the x-axis. And the moment I do this, just to create a series of different offsets, what we get is a fairly random-ish pattern of events which hopefully are going to move the morph square from left to right because it's the x-axis that I'm working on. So what we've got a chance to do now is to hear that. And you can see this kind of flickery movement which is happening over here. It's all happening really quickly, and that's because the trigger speed for this envelope is currently working in 16th notes. If I take this down to something much slower, those random steps will be much, much easier to actually see and plot. Let's come up to a quarter note. Something amazingly satisfying the way that that chord lands with this kind of majorness at the bottom. It's almost like a double bass note. It's a totally different thing now. What I also want is to manipulate the y-axis, and again I want that to be kind of random. Well, we know what to do now. If I click on the target, straight away it will be added to the list. I could turn on a modulation routing for it. And what I'm going to do is to choose another sequencer, and I'm going to choose a new sequencer again. This is going to be number 3. And I'm going to repeat my trick, creating a series of offsets, which are just going to do some interesting things, I think, in terms of the way that we want this to kind of work and play and manipulate this parameter. And of course, as before, what I'm then in a position to do is to choose a speed for it. And what I'm going to do is again, slow this down a little bit, but maybe to 8th notes. And hopefully now what we're going to see is that the y-axis is changing as well. What I want to do is to make this modulation routing as wide as it can possibly be. So let's have a listen to this. I think that's a really interesting place to start. Random import of audio files and the beginnings of understanding in terms of how we can combine a series of snapshot offsets which exist within this patch already with the first of a series of modulation routings of our own. Imagine for a moment that those files were tempo matched drum loops, and suddenly what you had was an opportunity to move between different layers of tempo locked stuff. Well, you can go and experiment with that, and now you know how.